Hello and a very warm welcome to News Hour, 60 minutes of news, business, sports and weather, live on CCTV International. I'm Dadcun in Beijing. Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao arrived in Copenhagen Wednesday evening for the ongoing UN Climate Change Conference. The conference is set to end on Friday, and Wen's attendance is an indication of China's determination to control greenhouse emissions. Lahaa has more.
Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao is scheduled to meet with other foreign leaders on the sidelines of the climate summit in Copenhagen. During his flight, Wen told reporters that his attendance at the meeting aims to show the great importance the Chinese government and people attach to the issue of climate change and to assert the nation's sincerity and determination in working with the international community to meet this global challenge. Wen said the Copenhagen Climate Conference is now in its final and critical stage. He said he will closely communicate and coordinate with various parties and deliver a speech outlining China's stance on climate change. Wen said he hoped the meeting will yield fair, reasonable, balanced and achievable results. As a big country, China has pledged to do its share. It has taken a constructive and positive approach in the Copenhagen talks and elsewhere. Last month, China announced that it would reduce the intensity of carbon emissions per unit of its GDP in 2020 by 40 to 45% from the 2005 levels. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon called the measures quite important. China expressed the stance that it will undertake its obligations as a developing country and called on the developed countries to do their share. Lahaa, CCTV.
Denmark's Prime Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen has opened the 10th day of proceedings at the UN Climate Change Conference with disputes leaving several major issues unresolved. China, India and Brazil are protesting the gathering's latest draft tests. The Danish presidency put forward the document without consulting other parties at the summit on Wednesday. Chi has more.
China's representative in Copenhagen is warning that the conference presidency's move could very much endanger the goal of a successful outcome.
We all came here with a very strong determination to make Copenhagen a success. But we need to, in order to achieve that, we need to have a very just process. That is very important.
India, Brazil and some other developing nations are also protesting the newest draft text versions.
From the current state of negotiations, it appears that the developed countries are not prepared for a comprehensive outcome at Copenhagen that would bind them to fulfill the commitments for emissions reduction under Kyoto Protocol and the UNFCCC.
Many nations are demanding that a legally binding climate treaty be reached in Copenhagen, but divisions between developed and developing countries, mainly over emissions reductions and financing, are eroding the chances to seal a deal. World leaders are now arriving in the Danish capital to endorse efforts to reach an agreement as the conference moves into its final segment. CCTV.
Cities around the world observed a 1-hour blackout on Wednesday to raise awareness of the dangers of climate change. Hundreds marched through the streets of Copenhagen as lights were switched off. The event was organized to coincide with the climax of climate talks in the Danish capital. 193 nations remain deadlocked in talks to reach a deal on curbing global warming. The 10-day-old talks ran into dispute as they entered a critical state on Wednesday, just 2 days before more than 100 national leaders hoped to sign an historic agreement. The least developed countries are urging industrialized nations to fulfill their commitments on climate change. The Prime Minister of Lesotho, Parker Letha Mosisili, delivered a statement on behalf of the least developed countries at the high-level segment of the UN Climate Change Conference. They called on industrialized nations to fulfill their financial, technological and capacity-building commitments. African countries have also softened their demands for climate funding from developed nations. Ethiopia's Prime Minister spoke on behalf of all African countries. He says he supports $100 billion billion in annual financing from industrialized nations to help the developing world by 2020. He also backs short-term funding, a position that falls in line with suggestions by the EU and the US.
I support the establishment of a startup fund of $10 billion per annum for the years of 2010 to 2012 to be used to address urgent adaptation and mitigation tasks, including forestry, and to prepare plans for more ambitious programs later on.
And South America speaks out. Bolivian President Evo Morales and Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez are also in Copenhagen to attend the climate change conference. Both are urging industrialized nations to help developing countries fight climate change. Let's learn more about their ideas from Damian Jones.
Bolivian President Evo Morales says climate change has largely been caused by developed nations during their industrializations. He's demanding that those countries help developing nations fight climate change and green their economies.
The budget of the United States is $687 billion for defense, and they want to, for climate change, to save life, to save humanity. They want to put up $10 billion. That's shameful.
Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez has also blasted the actions of industrialized countries.
In the streets, they are saying the following: if the climate was a bank, we would have already saved it. And I think that's true. If the climate was a big capitalist bank, you would have already saved it. You, the rich governments.
A formal summit of more than 120 world leaders will be held on Thursday and Friday in an attempt to break the deadlock on which nation should cut greenhouse gas emissions, by how much, and who should pay what. Damian Jones, CCTV.
During an interview program on Wednesday evening, French President Nicolas Sarkozy said a time is pressing for the world to reach a deal at the climate conference. Sarkozy also said that US President Barack Obama faced difficulties in convincing the American public that deep cuts in their emissions are what needed to save the planet. Still, Sarkozy, who is pressing for a one-third cut in emissions by 2020, called on America to lead the way.
To that answer, you in the United States are the leading power in the world. The world's most powerful country must show the way forward and not follow.
Also in Copenhagen, Japan unveiled its aid package worth $15 billion in total. The fund will help developing countries fight climate change through 2012. Environment Minister Sakihito Ozawa said that Japan considers its responsibility to the international community to be very important and will support a broad range of developing countries. Japan also joined the US, Australia, France, Norway and Britain in the $3.5 billion forestry preservation plan. The announcement on Wednesday offered an opportunity to restart the stalled UN climate talks.
Japan will implement efficient and effective assistance to the developing countries. For example, the taking or using of low-carbon technology, which is state-of-the-art technology, and the expertise that we have. We will assist the developing countries in their mitigation efforts, and also we will help the developing countries, especially vulnerable and the small island states, to help with adaptation and capacity building.
Coming up next on News Hour, Chinese Vice President Xi Jinping arrives in South Korea for the second leg of his four-nation Asian tour.